downstairs at Customs. And since
They
they
invented
started
that,
going down
basically.
Customs, exactly, other teams have now too. But game is ready, and we are going to get underway with our very first matchup of the Rainbow Six Invitational. It delights me so much to say that.
Could not be more hyped.
Let's get right into the game.
And as Vitality starts on attack, Penta will be on defense. Of course, an Armory Lockers going to be the first defense here for Penta. Doesn't surprise anyone. I mean, yeah, sure, they invented Customs Hold, but Armory Lockers is just so defender slanted in the current meta. Now, we are seeing a Ying on the side of attack, and we might be having a rehost starting off the bat here. We'll see what's going on. We'll see what the admins decide there. But just to start off this round, we do see a Ying on the attacking side for Vitality. And that's something that you should definitely be keeping an eye on, as from what we've been hearing from a lot of the pro players, Ying is very much in the meta, and you should expect to see her in every single one of these matches at least once.
And it looks like we are going to have a rehost, so you'll come right back to us. First match of the day, just some sound issues that we will clear up for you, but good that they'll get out of the way as quickly as we can. We've been hearing a lot about that Ying Glaz Blitz combination right now. We have certain teams that are competing of the 16 who are very proficient in that combination. A team such as 1UP, who you'll see competing on the other channel, and maybe this channel tomorrow, or even in the final 8, depending on how their fortunes go in Group A. They're a team that has been running Ying and Glaz quite a lot. A team like Black Dragons. Ying is in all of their strategy, or Glaz has been in all their strategies for ages now. These are teams that are going to be very comfortable with that meta and should excel, given that it's now swung in their direction.
Yeah, and the thing about the Ying Glaz meta is that it's this sort of strategy that on, some people say it's only for certain bomb sites, and that's just fundamentally wrong. You can apply it to almost anywhere, given the right strategy, the right setup. And it's the sort of strategy, when employed, it favors the team using it. It's the sort of thing that makes it a little bit one-sided for the attack for a period. The real masterful art is going to come down to the defense, and that's what you should keep your eyes on. Whenever you see those smokes going down, the Candelas behind them and Glaz looking through, keep an eye on the defense. They're the ones that are going to be in the pressure situation to see that strategy being employed and respond to it in an appropriate manner, because it's not easy to finesse that.
And there are certain sites where you'll bring a Hibana, and she will be able to burn that ADS with one launch of her X-Kairos.
Yep.
They're all gone. That's going to allow not just both the Glaz's smokes, also Ying's 2 smokes, and then the 3 Candelas to go down with very little interference. There's a couple counters to that. Number one, we'll see smokes expend their utility early to try to counter that smoke push. So it's very difficult for you to push in through smoke if you're breathing in all that toxic gas. 2, bandited barbed wire is something that we have seen being used a couple times. I'm imagining it's going to get more prevalent, where you have a barbed wire with a bandit shock wire in it, they throw a Candela down, well, that Candela touches the barbed wire, and it disappears.
We're just having some technical difficulties, and they're working through it right now, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate your patience. We should be back pretty soon. Just going to need to get everybody back into the lobby.
So we're just going to keep going over what we're going over right now with Border as well.
So, Border, we were seeing, of course, the Armory defense first. Now, we've already seen, I think for most people, you understand how you're going to defend Armory. The attacks aren't really that surprising. I think what we should discuss is, how is a Ying applicable to an Armory take? For me, I'm expecting it to be primarily towards the B-bomb site, coming in from offices, opening up the wall into archives, laying down that covers to cut off rotation. What about you? What do you think?
We've seen a couple things with Ying. Number one, you'll see Ying's being used to push somebody out of Fountain if they've got a mirror situated there. That's probably that's what essentially the defense are setting up as a beachhead for you, is their primary way of stopping that push inside of office is having control of Fountain. Now, you can push Fountain from inside of CCTV. You've got the wall in CCTV and all the way, or security, or monitors rather, upstairs. And then you've got the hallway and the other wall there. You can shoot through 2 walls and try to push somebody off there. For us, you're seeing a lot of different Ying play. You might see a Candela go down to push somebody off a Fountain. You might see a Candela go over top inside of the actual office itself, through that little trellis at the top, and then they can push that way and throw smoke in too. There's a lot of different variants. You might even see a Thermite get used to blow open that office wall, but it does look like the game is back up, and we are going to go into Border. Fingers crossed that all is well. You're going to see Penta start on defense, Vitality on attack, and no Glaz, but a Ying being brought, not too surprising there.
Not at all. Seems to be pretty much about the same setup we had last time, and will be the same bomb site. Again, Armory Lockers. We will be having another rehost here, ladies and gentlemen, it seems. Apologize for this yet again, but it's something that happens when you're just starting out at an event,
Yeah, and right now there are going to be 4 teams playing at all times using a special setup that we have down in the players section. It's just near the practice areas for the rest of the teams,
Right.
as the rest of the teams, I would imagine, are going to be filling in over the next little while. And as you can see, this is exactly where they are. Coaches standing behind them, teams assembled.
Yeah, there's Shaz.
It's actually quite an impressive facility, so to speak, just because of the fact that you are able to house all 16 teams in there. Let me tell you that much. It's actually not that hot down there.
No, it's not. It's
For
well.
that many machines?
It's well conditioned, or well air conditioned. They're definitely a lot cooler than the room we're in right now, and it's very comfortable. So these guys will be got to be sitting pretty and comfortable, and ready to play. Now, we are unsure if we're going to be getting started immediately or what the status is of the match, but we'll let you know as soon as we do. In the meantime, you can see them all getting ready, getting prepped for this game.
And Kiwi, the coach of Vitality, Shaw's the coach of Penta. I really like that as we are progressing in Rainbow Six, not only are we seeing teams and bigger orgs come in, but also the role of the coach and the analyst. And there are certain teams, Penta had 2 coaches when we were in Brazil. We're seeing a lot of teams now not just picking up 1 coach, but sometimes even 2. Live footage of the game as we are just a minute into round number 1. No casualties at the moment.
Glad we didn't miss any action. That's fantastic. For those of you who are unaware, this is a best of 3. Just joining us, it's going to be Border Oregon and Skyscraper to round us out in this best of 3. Now, starting off the bat, Vitality going to try and take control over CCTV, which is not at all being contested by Penta Sports. They're instead opting to wait. Rightfully so, as Vitality has taken an entire minute, 10 seconds to establish CCTV control and are only now moving towards the east stairs. Vitality's going to need to make good use of their time against such a conservative strategy from Penta here.
You can see that fountain control right now being held by Goga. That was something that I mentioned about how you would expend a couple Candelas from the Ying just to try and push them off. You'll see some teams will try and fight it. Very easy for if you have a Mute playing there, if you have a Bandit with a C4 there, if you have a Valkyrie there, very easy for them to launch that Nitro Cell over and try to get a kill with it. But some teams will just instead opt to fall off completely. Just outside of the office doorway, you've got enemy posted up on top of vehicle customs, just over the bus depot. As Ying likely going to push somebody inside of Armory itself, holding down that Candela to get maximum usage out of it, and pushes it 1 in, but it gets eaten by an ADS, and there you go, not the ability to take out an ADS, as now enemy is going to get answered by a smoke from Pengu. A C4 completely misses, but doesn't matter, rises inside, getting that defuse down, 7 seconds, but Jonas gets a push, and there's nobody from Vitality there to stop him. Shate adds to it, that Mira, who is so clutch, takes down Revan. Unwise, as now Void doesn't check his corners. Goga gets him, Pengu takes down enemy, and now it's all up to the Zofia of Panics, who comes around the corner and gets the first kill for the French team, but Pengu answers that one back, and Penta takes round number 1.
And that was some grade A mistakes there from Vitality, and just not, like you said, not checking their corners, but pretty basic corners as well. I mean, we saw the Candelas coming in from the B window. There was no attempt to clear out the ADSs before actually throwing those in. So huge waste of utility right there, and we're going to keep going, guys. Apologize for that again. We're just going to try and keep this rolling as much as we can. Now, that round definitely was a huge mistake from Vitality, as I was saying. The smokes and the Candelas getting caused by ADS. Not clearing out the mirror window before you make the push in. I understand you're trying to rely on smokes and disruption to get the plant, but if your smokes and disruption aren't coming through, then you need to employ a different strategy in that circumstance.
Right, and it was
reevaluate.
It might have been a disjointed push from Vitality, but it also could have been a casualty of the time. There was only 50 seconds left, and you've got one area cut off by the smoke. You know, Fabian was downstairs covering hatch for anybody who pushed. Pengu and Jonas upstairs, and then it's just simply a matter of not a sufficient amount of droning in. And I mean, take a look at even when Voy came in and didn't check his corners, Goga was sitting on that Mira. How would you not know that somebody was playing Mira inside a fountain? And,
yeah.
I mean, you come in with your back to it. Exactly, and it's because Jonas was inside of bomb site B at the time, thinking if I push up, basically I have to pick which angle am I going to get shot at. Pick the wrong way. Paid for it. It happens. But
There was
Vitality's
also
going to need to have a better bounce back after that.
Yeah, there was also a lot of really cool things being employed there by PENTA. We saw the angle perfectly lined up for the B window, waiting for that vault through, as well as Pengu, like you said earlier in the round, he was set up for the smokes to deny the vault in the first place. Just in general, a good defense from PENTA. And now we'll see how they're going to do on attack as they set themselves up to attack this armory. You can see clearly that Fabian is looking to move downstairs with Pengu's support. And they're going to be in a position to clear out any batteries, mirror windows, or any player positions that they want to deal with from below using that Ash Charge and Buck combo.
And one really interesting strat that we have seen being trying to get used and seeing how much value you can get out of it is a Vigil Mute Roam. It was something that was originally, I guess, thought of when Vigil was first coming out, saying, well, if you can not only cut off where Vigil is, but also keep drones from being able to find him with the Mute Jammers, can make it very, very difficult. Right now, Revan has his ability on, so he's completely cloaked. He manages to shoot the drone.
Whoa!
And wow, what a leadoff kill onto Fabian, but Shate will drop from the game, and that will leave them at 5v3. So likely a rehost afterwards, unless Shate is able to reconnect. But Revan, a great read, and Fabian just seemed to entry alone and paid for it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, for those of you wondering, we're too far into the round, I believe, for rehost, but we might be rehosting. Depends on what the admins call out. That's all their decision. Round is seemingly continuing to play out, though, so Pengu is going to be on top of that north balcony, pressuring on into the B bomb site. PENTA, after losing their roam clear downstairs, having to rotate their other player for that Vigil upstairs to support the push, they will not, in fact, deal with any of the roamers, which is going to leave them in a precarious position for any potential destruction from below. Nice C4 there from enemy. Going to take out the north balcony pressure. Good job there from Vitality.
Now, we don't know how much Shate would have mattered to this actual push itself after losing Fabian, but nonetheless, still 2 members of PENTA remaining. Now, Goga and Jonas are 2 players who are capable of still winning, and a 5v2 is a daunting task, or a 2v5 if you're PENTA in this case. Vitality really just needs to hold on. They have a minute, so there's still some time left for them to be able to cut through before real crunch time happens. But you see that right now, enemy is going to be the first one pressured. Jonas comes right in, and he's going to look to see if anybody pushes from just outside of Archives, and there's nobody there.
That was a beautifully put together push there between the 2 players, but Goga unfortunately going to bite the dust on the long angle from Rise in the hallway through that rotation. Eunice looking for the kill onto the Mira, who's close to him, going to attempt a fake plant. Here comes the C4, will secure the kill. Eunice goes down, and Vitality get the second round of this match. We are likely to have a rehost here, as Shate unfortunately did disconnect. So we'll see if we can get everybody back into the lobby and get right back to it. But the score will be 1-1.
So a good answer from Vitality.
Absolutely.
And around that, like we said, when you have somebody disconnect in such a way as that, it's difficult for you to be able to tell, okay, how much of their strategy fell apart when Shate left.
I mean, it's really, again, like you said, it's difficult to say.
Right.
It seemed like they weren't putting as much pressure over on the Fountain side of things. They didn't have a flank hold because there were only 2 players, and as a result, because they couldn't pressure the main hallway, they couldn't pressure CCTV, they just didn't have any options. There was the Rise from inside of CCTV, using that rotation hole all the way in towards B, able to deny the push in the later end of the round. I mean, if he hadn't been in a position like that, if he had just been inside of the A bomb site, and that was all the attackers needed to look at, it's very likely that those 2 players alone, Eunice and Goga, could have just isolated B by themselves and isolated A, either one, and gotten the plant off. But unfortunately, not enough manpower. It's not going to happen.
So we've got 2 wins now, both on defense, both upstairs in Armory Locker. That site will be locked. You got to imagine Penta's probably going to go downstairs to Customs. That would be my assumption, but
I mean, they've got a lot of options. Plus, I think PENTA as a team, you know, they're the sort of team they understand when a strat has been read.
Right.
And everybody knows about the Customs defense. I mean, like we talked about earlier, as soon as PENTA started doing that, almost everyone else started employing it at one point or another. So while I expect it to happen, I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be their main bomb site or if they're going to show us something completely different. PENTA is just that good at adjusting, so we'll have to find out.
Workshop still remains a viable site as well. It's just that I think there's different aspects to the hold that come with Customs versus Workshop. Bathroom tellers.
Bathroom tellers, we've never seen a
not
good
really
strat.
want to see that.
We've seen it employed, but we've never seen it really all that successful.
Right.
Even when you win on bathroom tellers, it doesn't look convincing ever, unless all the action's going on outside, which has happened before, and it's been successful before. It's just not the sort of bomb site I think a team like PENTA is going to rely on. I really want to say they're not going to, but who knows? Maybe they'll bring something out of left field, something we can't possibly expect.
I would imagine that we're going to see a lot of things in just the qualifiers, or I guess the group stages, as we're calling them now, if I can use the proper parlance here. I think we're going to see a lot of things in terms of operator usage, in terms of sites, in terms of upsets and surprises as well. I mean, we all come into this thinking, I've seen a lot of people online filling out their scorecards of how they think, the final 8 teams are going to work and all that stuff. And it astounds me how radically different they are. I think we're going to see the same thing with team composition. I mean, we haven't even seen a Glaz yet on Border. People are saying, oh, you're going to see Ying and Glaz in every single game. So far, that's a no.
Border's not the best map for a Ying Glaz combo. You can definitely use it,
right?
But it's not gonna. It's not like Oregon. On Oregon, obviously, you're gonna use a Ying Glaz combo when you're attacking the basement. Obviously, that is just so. It's in the meta. And Border, on the other hand, there's definitely situations where it is a good strategy. Like, for example, if executed properly on towards Archives. Unfortunately, Vitality did not manage to get that down right on the first round, but it's something you definitely can do. And clearly, PENTA, you saw, they were setting themselves up to counter just that. So we'll see if one of these teams will start using the Glaz, or if it'll just be down to the Ying. I think, honestly, the Ying is the main pushing force in that strategy.
Right, and you can make it work. I mean, we're not going to see too much of a blitz either. If that three-way combo that we see of Ying, Glaz, and Blitz is going to rain as much terror down as we have heard, and we have, teams have said in scrims.
We've definitely heard that.
We've heard it an awful lot. I don't think, I agree with you. I don't think Border's that kind of map. Border's a map where Blitz doesn't really work. Too much destructibility, too many different flank routes. It's not like a map like Oregon where you're mostly confined to smaller quarters where you can't really be attacked from multiple angles. With that said, it does appear that we are now ready to rock again, and there's no rehost needed. We're just going to head right back into the game. One of the benefits of running a land build is you can just pause it and come right back.
Absolutely.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Now, PENTA setting themselves up downstairs. As you can see, they've opted to go for Ventilation Workshop rather than the Customs hold. And that, I think, is sensible. It's much more in line with the normal meta, but also it's likely that any team who goes up against PENTA will have a counter strat in place. So we'll see how they manage to work it here downstairs. You can see that PENTA are putting a lot of utility upstairs in an attempt to delay that predictable push. Camera going onto the light. Well, thanks for that. Now it's useless, Goga. But a wonderful camera all the same. I mean, every time, that's the thing about Valkyrie cameras in this level of play. Every time it gets used, immediately that camera is useless. Most people have seen it then.
People always ask, and I think it's important to be able to reference it now because we will probably have a fair amount of viewers who are new to the game. Why do you shoot out around the mirror?
So you shoot out around the mirror so that you get more visual cue on the enemy side of the mirror. So you can see much wider FOV just in general, because those little bits of wood, they're still there. A reinforcement, though, is one very thin layer with these little metal sticks pointing out to hold it in place with the wall. And because it's one very thin layer, and it's not a double-layered wall like every other wall, you can cut away at the correct side of the that layer and have a lot more FOV.
So exactly. Why do you do it? Very simple answer. You see more.
You see more.
You see more. And there are times when if you don't do that, there can be people in your blind spot that can punish you if you don't pay attention.
I mean, in this instance, the particular mirror window inside of Fountain is actually not very useful unless you cut down underneath it and over towards the hallway. You need that extra visual cue because that's exactly what it's being used for, is to cut off people from pushing in that hallway. Also, just to cut off people who are pushing in towards office, but,
Take a look at the setup we have right now. It looks identical to what we saw the first time around that Vitality was not able to pierce, except now it's going to be defending a site on another floor. There's a couple things that come with this. Number one, biggest issue is that if you can't take this section, then you're not going to get to the site. Whereas with the other one, oh, Shate, a big double as Enemy and Rise get taken down. The Mira storms out, and Pengu finishes off Panics. trouble in paradise for Vitality right now. That'll leave just Voy and Revan to contend, and Revan takes some significant damage in the meantime, and they'll be cut off by a smoke and have to fall back.
And you can see they're both very hesitant here. They know they've got pressure inside of that armory, and wow, Revan gonna get downed by the smoke, and Pengu from below will secure the kill. And now it's all down to Voy. In a 1 versus 4, I don't see it as likely as he just hesitantly again waits patiently, and Fountain gonna open up the wall, and he will lose the fight regardless to Pengu. Inside of Archives, a nice attempt there from Vitality. To an extent, they got in the building. That's for darn sure. Once they got into the building, though, they started facing any of the Penta players. It just all fell apart.
So we saw a couple things happen there. Number one, there was still a bit of a different push on that site or on that defense, but different lack of coordination. So what
they were really spread out.
They were very spread out. We saw a couple trying to take Office, one while pushing Fountain. We saw two trying to detach Shate from that Mira on Armory wall, and what ended up happening? The Penta machine just stepped forward and literally contested them, and they beat them in every single fight. And it's not even so much the strategy that fell apart there. I mean, yes, you yinged Shate, the Mira. You should have been able to get that kill. You didn't. Shate very smartly pushed up and was able to get not just 1, but 2 kills on that. But the other issue was you're just losing your gunfights. Your strats can be great, but if you're taking a gunfight head on, you lose it, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, on the note of that Mira window, the Ying actually made a huge mistake. Like you said, Ying Shate, or tried to, but instead of yinging close first, which is, basic strategy when dealing with the Mira window, they decided to throw their Ying over towards Bunker, deep inside of Armory, and then go for a Ying up close, which is the opposite of what you're supposed to do, which allowed Shate to read that situation and push out. Even as a 3 armor, 1 speed, that's an impressive play from Shate. Good game sense there. Aside from that, the rest of the team, they were just very spread out. And I gotta be honest, if you're in a position where you're losing gunfights, what you should be doing on attack is stacking up on each other to give yourselves more potential for refrags. And unfortunately, that just did not happen from Vitality. In situations where there were teammates near each other on Vitality, they were unable to get those refrags. Now, successfully, Penta has opened up the Mirror window in towards Armory and will force out that Bandit.
One thing that Penta infamously is known for is setting up for the trades. They fight for trades. They fight to make sure that even if they're losing somebody, they're still able there to make it a somewhat even contest. And that is something that now that when you're that spread out like Vitality, you don't have that option. They have managed to open up the Mira. You can see that at half wall they were being pressured. Goga just tosses in a grenade because Jonas isn't able to do much. But now enemy inside of Armory Desk tries to contend. He gets torn apart by Shate. Enemy down. And now 3 members of Vitality are remaining, and they are also down in Workshop. So now Penta has been able to do something in a minute that Vitality wasn't able to do the entire time in round number 3.
And this is the first successful, at least to start anyway, this is the first successful attack round we've been seeing. Now, they've got a lot of dominance here on this top floor as they move their way likely downstairs later. And I think they've forced every single one of the roamers down to the bomb site. So now they're going to be at the mercy of the Buck, Ash, and Zofia combination.
They still have a smoke left, they still have a mirror, they still have a pulse. Those are 3 operators that are all very good in the dying minutes of a round. A C4 will take some health away from Penta, but not enough to claim anybody whatsoever. I like that both teams ran a castle on this site. That's not something that we don't see it in every single strat, but usually you're running a castle here more so than anywhere else. Shate just inches away from taking out Voy, but Voy manages to find security in that server stack, as now Shate will return to the doorway at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah, and the smoke's still alive. As I say that, he is going to die Goga from above using his buck correctly. Ravon will be able to get the refrag onto Shate, though. It's a very important kill, and a down and a finish from Rise onto Fabian. Seems like Penta's falling apart here in the last few minutes of this round. Eunice gonna, though, finish off Ravon, and now it's all down to Rise in a 1v3, and it's not gonna happen. Eunice from the hallway will finish off Rise, end this round, and put Penta now in a decisive lead of 3-1.
And a good crossfire, sees the Mira back up, and then just goes for a simple bullet pen through the wall. And that was, they did start to fall apart. I would argue that Shate was a dead man walking at that point because he only had a sliver of health left. But, I mean, we've seen somebody with under 20 health be able to, win a 1v3 just because the way everything works with mechanical skill, the actual destructibility, depending on the operator's left as well.
I mean, we've seen people with 1 HP clutch out those rounds. I mean, it's anything's possible as long as you can hit the headshot and the enemy is incapable of hitting you. Anything is possible. Now, Penta upstairs in towards the armory again. They will be able to go up here despite having 1. I mean, this is how it works in competitive play. For those of you who are new to Rainbow Six and Ranked, yes, you have to go to other bomb sites. Here, you have the choice of going upstairs right after you have won another round.
Sites are unlocked.
Sites.
So a very easy way of putting it is if you win a site as a defense, you cannot go there the next time.
But
the time after that, you can go after.
Any other time.
So they have the option to go back upstairs. They are smartly going to take it. We have seen some teams win sites, then go to a separate site on a third opportunity.
Right.
Just mostly, I would imagine, some form of mind games or maybe for stratting. But, I mean, Armory Lockers is indisputably, I would say, the best site to defend on this entire map. A bit foolish, maybe, if you decide to go somewhere else. We've seen teams start off on bathroom tellers, and what happens?
They lose.
They lose.
Yeah,
and
they lose.
It doesn't start the game off great for them. With Penta, though, they're going to go up to the site that they know best. You had Fabian roaming downstairs. You see he's still downstairs, so not too much of a surprise there. Playing underneath the hatches, waiting just for the entry to try and maybe get a late kill, or if somebody decides to drop and flank through one of the open hatches. But Vitality storming inside now, taking control of East Stairs. They had Revan entry alone last time, too. And he ended up being one of the last alive, but looks like he's largely droning himself in as Ash.
It's really worth mentioning how inefficient that is.
Not a great start.
No. And it has put it in a position now. We've spent an entire minute. And what do we have to show for it, says Team Vitality? We have partial CCTV control and East Stairs control, and we're setting up to clear the roamers downstairs just now. But as you can see, everyone is droning themselves in. This is not supposed to be happening here. This is, I think, one of the most fundamental skills that a top-level team can have, or any team, to be honest, is the ability to drone each other in and have that stuff planned out in advance. Who drones who in where, and what's the most efficient pathing. Here at Vitality, they're just going for their own, and it's scary. Fabian going to be the one to try and delay the push and through front door using Jaeger, and he's doing a great job of it so far, even though he hasn't been pressured at all yet.
Shate did get pinched from above. Fabian not looking. Revan gets the first kill for Vitality this round. Takes 90 seconds, but now you've got some pressure off by eliminating one of the roamers, and now Revan is free to look under that hatch. Shate was taking some fire from Voy earlier on through the floor inside of Armory Wall, and now enemy's trying to do some bullet pen himself. Can't capitalize. Shate got a kill, joined up by Jonas, is now enemy down, and we're gonna leave 3 left for Vitality. But an even contest as Revan gets his second kill of the round, this time taking down Jonas, and that is another roamer down. So the roam game now wiped off the board. That's gonna leave just the anchors to try to clutch things out. But I mean, I would argue, as good as Jonas is, it's the anchor play of Penta that really defines some of its site holds, and I would not be too surprised to see them get a little aggressive. Oof. Just as I said, but Rise punishes Shate right away.
That was a big mistake from Shate, maybe getting a little bit ahead of himself. Sure, you have the round advantage, but Vitality is definitely a formidable team, and they're going to put themselves in a great position now to win the round. They might be able to cut off this B bomb site from any potential rotation from Penta and simply get that defuse plan. In the last 30 seconds, though, they are going to be pressured for time. As Goga rotates in towards B, he will, I don't believe, has a C4. I couldn't quite catch it. He does have a C4, so this might aid him in these last 20 seconds. As the gas canisters come out, that's going to definitely stop that push. C4 to double up on it, but there's no one for it to catch. A little bit preemptive there from Goga. Pengu elsewhere inside of A will take out Rise. Goga unable to secure his kill, but he will get it onto Revan eventually, and inside the small office, Pengu gets the final one. Pengu putting it up onto 4-1. Penta now in decided lead here on this map, and match point.
And I like the pre-fire from Pengu. Just sees the hair of Zofia. She vaults through the window into Armory desk and then just able to, you know exactly where Zofia is going to go at that point. She's going to try to push through the door, which is exactly where Pengu is. And right into the lion's den there with the smoke waiting. I mean, you've got either an SMG-11 or a shotgun waiting for you on the opposite side of the door. Your life expectancy at that point is roughly about 1 second to 2 seconds tops.
The really confusing thing for me, I mean, it all came down to not enough time. Because we saw a great clear downstairs from Rise. He did excellent there. He got rid of both of the roamers, and that's the first time we've seen a successful roam clear downstairs. But after he got those roamers, he and his team were unable to deal with any of the anchors, despite Shate's huge misplay pushing in towards CCTV. It all came down to, like you said, that defining anchor game from Penta. Not able to deal with that. With too little time, they could not wait out the gas canisters.
No. Take a look at the board. You've got Pengu right now top fragging and Shate. That's 2 support anchor players that are doing the best right now. So,
an excellent job from them, certainly.
So we now see Vitality on defense is going to go back upstairs. Once again, the site is unlocked, so they'll go up top to Armory Lockers, which is exactly where we saw Penta go before. Now, Penta was able to win once on attack. It's actually the only attacking round that has been won so far was by Penta on Workshop. We'll see if they can do it and take map number 1 5-1, but pretty quick so far. Now coming in, when you're going against the juggernaut that is Penta, and I know that people might get tired of us constantly praising Penta, but I think with how dominant they've been over the last 3 to 4 seasons, it's a little warranted. They have looked quite good so far. Now Border is a map that they know very well. They are proficient at it. They can defend almost every single site as we've touched upon before, and right now nothing is too out of the ordinary with what we're seeing.
No, absolutely. And while we haven't actually seen Penta play in a good long time, they are certainly a formidable team still. And like we talked about earlier, with the addition of Shate, they look even more strong. That's for certain. Now, as Pengu opens up the wall into Archive, Fabian's going to be able to secure the kill on Enemy as he attempts to go for the rush. A good angle here opened up from Fabian. Will cut off the rotation between the sites as well as just a line of sight all the way down, and that looks like it's going to be played by Shate possibly. Anyone on this window really could take up that angle at any given moment. Penta now setting themselves up to coordinatedly push into the bomb site. Not going to take any unnecessary risks. As I say that, Void's going to eliminate Pengu, who is taking an unnecessary risk, attempting to vault out the window. Huge mistake there. As soon as you're on in, you are committed. The defense has the ability to use that very same angle against you. A little bit of a stall here.
You'd seen that they used the Vigil mute before quite effectively. Now they've dropped the mute. They're just running with the actual Vigil himself, who's just playing aggressive site, not too far off.
And he's going to rotate downstairs. Looks like he might be setting himself up for a run out. I'm not sure whether that's going to aid him at all. This is just a stall completely from both teams. I think Penta are waiting for the aggression from Vitality, but it's just not coming out.
Not whatsoever. 1 minute down. Candela's rattle off. Shate picks Voy apart as he reaches, he leans around the corner, and nobody from Vitality is able to stop that defuse. We heard it about 7 seconds ago, and now they've been boxed out of sight itself. It does look like they will need a retake. Defenders having to do a retake, never a wise idea. Fabian gets down and then finished off by Panics as a refrag, and Jonas too onto Panics and Revan, and it leaves just Rise left, and pinning all of the hopes of Vitality for map number 1 on him. With the Rook, he does have an ACOG, a long angle sight, but peeks in and Jonas gets kill number 3. That's a good half, and you'll see just the muted tones of Penta as they're happy, obviously, but this is a result that they had expected.
They've absolutely expected it. I mean, Penta now looking very, very strong. You can see Shaz proud of his players, certainly. The rest of the team, the rest of Penta just waiting for that map number 2, which again, if you're just joining us, will be Oregon. A very, I think, a very played out map. We've seen it a lot in the Pro League in the past. It's definitely the most in-meta map right now, along with Border, which, again, we just saw.
So with Oregon, I think this is really going to be the epicenter for, are we going to see a lot of Blitz? Are we going to see a lot of Ying? Are we going to see a lot of Glaz? Already, a lot of Ying. No Glaz, no Blitz. Maybe a symptom of the map we played on, which I think we can both agree upon.
I think that's true, yeah.
But Oregon is definitely going to be an area where all 3 of them wreak havoc. And we've seen teams, Black Dragons and Yeah Gaming, which was known as Lanchaneta, and in the Latin America qualifiers, both teams have been running a Blitz for seasons now.
Yeah, and I feel like Penta, they're probably the sort of team who would resent it, but at the same time, that whole strategy. But at the same time, they're too pragmatic to ignore it.
Right.
They're definitely going to employ it, and I think even Vitality will certainly be using that sort of strategy, especially, if nothing else, at least when they're attacking the basement. Both of these teams will be bringing a Ying, certainly, a Glaz probably, and a Blitz possibly.
When you're attacking the basement, the strats that we've been seeing a lot of recently, maybe not a Glaz, you might keep a Capitao in addition to a Ying.
Oh, you have to bring a, yeah.
But
yeah.
You'll definitely see a Ying, you'll definitely see a Hibana, you almost always will see a Twitch for a number of reasons. But to the video of Oregon we go, and one of the most played maps that we have in Rainbow Six since the game was launched. Nothing outside of the ordinary, but it always ends up being a testing ground for a wide variety of metas because it is, of course, a map where almost every strategy seems to work in some effect. I mean,
You want to bring a blitz, you come from construction. You want to lay down smoke, you come from main lobby. I mean,
Right.
if you don't want to deal with either of those, you defend upstairs. I mean, there's options for both the defense and the attack.
This is a map where almost every single operator seems to get played. We've seen Capkins on this map, we've seen Castles on this map, Legions, we've seen Vigils, we've seen Dokkabees on this map. But just to maybe throw off the expectation of Vitality, with Penta starting on defense, they will head upstairs into kids' dorms. Master bedroom. Ying is being brought by enemy, no Glaz, no Blitz. Okay, I think it's time now where we should maybe just start mentioning when we see it, if we do see it at all between these two teams.
Yeah, and I think it's likely we're going upstairs here from Penta because they very much do not want to deal with that strat we were talking about earlier. The smoke and Candelas in the laundry room. It's a pain. It's hard to deal with as a defender, and this is definitely your counter to it.
So with the defensive composition, Fabian running the Legion. Legion sees a lot of play on Oregon for a couple reasons, and we always mention it because I think it's always worth mentioning. There are usually only so many ways that you can attack a site in Oregon. Legion's value is directly related to the amount of avenues in which you can get to a site or get through a narrow corridor or a flank route, because he does have now 8 traps available if he survives till the very end of the round. All of those do 10 damage when stepped upon. They also provide an audio cue to know where they're pushing from. And a lot of times, if a trap goes off, you know realistically that there's somebody nearby and where they could be. And
I think you get them all about 45 seconds earlier than you used to before his buff, that's I think the biggest thing. You just get so many more traps so much quicker. Now, speaking of traps, Fabian's going to be the defender down in the kitchen, who will be trying to hold off Panix, Voy, and Ravon, who are attempting to clear him together as a unit. Good drone work coming out here from Void for his teammate Panix, who's attempting to flank around the bathroom using that rotation hole. Goga's going to try and support Fabian from the side, but Panix from behind will eliminate Fabian. Will he get Goga as well, or will the refrag come out? Goga a little bit distracted from his flank. He lights up Panix, but unable to secure the kill. Void's still inside of Cafeteria. He could potentially line up this grenade for a perfect kill and get these roamers dealt with, but no, it will miss.
Grenade a bit premature there.
Yeah, a little bit. And now Goga's going to be conscious of the two-way pressure. Will he fall off, or will he try to delay even further? He's done a good job so far.
Ella was an operator we saw barely any of on Border, and I just noticed that now.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
We almost saw none of Ella on Border whatsoever. This might actually be the first time we're seeing her played, if I remember correctly.
I don't want to go that far. Can we go that far?
Well, because think about it. Pengu gets first kill onto Voy. They were running a Jaeger and a Bandit, and then on-site play, they were usually running a Mira, a Valkyrie, and a Smoke. We almost saw no Ella whatsoever.
That's insanity.
So, Fabian first one down. He's going to lose out on some of his Legion traps. Shate eliminates Rise before enemy takes Goga down, so the trade at that point will, I guess, lose one apiece. Now enemy comes in. He takes down Jonas 2. You can see he's going to slow peek around that corner. That'll leave 3v2, but Panix has next to no health. It's almost impossible to see from above. Shate losing half his health. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Pengu on site itself as now they start to push, and they're taking white stairs first and foremost, which Pengu is right above and will be waiting for them, and that is a great corridor and choke point. You can see now one will pressure up onto the window itself, but Pengu's just underneath big window at the moment. He sees the Ash. Panix doesn't last very long. Candelas will blind the smoke of Pengu.
Oh, Shete has the diffuser on Master Balcony. He doesn't need to move, and that's going to force the attackers to rush him.
So now the attackers will need to take the site, and Pengu and Shate, a quick 1-2, and Vitality eliminated that round. Diffuser was down upstairs, and Shate just needs to wait. And I mean, how many times are we going to say don't go frag hunting? And exactly, Penta just waits, and round number 2 will go a successful defense for Penta. They have yet to lose on defense so far in this matchup.
So here's the thing, Vitality, the strategy that they employed was clear out the roamers downstairs. But once they had done that, or at least forced them back, they didn't use their control downstairs for anything at all. Clearing out the roamers underneath the site, just for the sake of clearing out the roamers underneath the site, is not a good strategy. Once you have that control, you need to use it to open up the floor underneath the anchors. Now sure, their buck did die, but you could still get the hot spots with just rifles. It's possible, and it's the sort of thing that you need to have planned out ahead of time as a team. It's the sort of thing that these players should be capable of, and we have seen done by many teams in the past. So unfortunately, Vitality locking themselves into a, hey, let's rush up white stairs strategy after clearing out those roamers, no matter, even if it was just Pengu, it probably would have been a successful round for Penta. And all of that aside, the diffuser was down on Master Balcony, which is just it's confusing as well, because the strategy is coming from downstairs towards B bomb site, and you've got your diffuser all the way over on the side of A bomb site from Master. I mean, what's the strat there?
In their defense, here's what I would imagine their strategy was. They knew Shate had eaten some bullets, so he had some damage that had been done to him. He was a little weak. They might not have known where he was. He was guarding the diffuser and Master. Okay, so that essentially would mean that it was a 3v1. Now, because of that, Pengu is at the top of White Stairs, but you've got two members of Vitality who are full health. You feel if one of them sprints in, like Hibana, who's a 3-speed, breathes in some of that gas and pushes Pengu, there's a Ying there behind to hopefully fight for a trade. That's going to leave just Shate alone. You saw Revan had started to rotate over to Big Window. Pengu read the situation very well. He moved up to Big Window, pressured the Ash, and while the smoke was lingering over top of White Stairs, he was able to get back in position before Vitality had their bearings and knew to push. Leadoff kill is going to go to Voy as Pengu goes down, so a reward for his great play last round is an early death, just under a minute into round number 2.
I mean, all that aside, they did end up losing the round, and as enemy attempts to vault outside the west windows, he will be eliminated by Shate.
Panics with a rotate hole for Ela. Now we're seeing the Ela plays come out more likely. Fabian is completely disoriented from Ela, but the panics of Vitality. Bit of a panic himself as he was Candela'd, and that's a very quick kill for the Ying to be able to pull off. You've lost your Legion, as well as your Ela advantage in favor of Penta now. And we still have half of the round to go, and once again, you've got one roamer and 2 anchors left for Vitality just to hang.
You can see Eunice and Goga joining themselves into Meeting Hall. Fabian coming down from the main stairway in the lobby, and they're going to try and force out this hold in Meeting Hall. And I think they've actually done that successfully. Looks like Rise has fallen back, and all of the Voy has gone all the way back to construction. So now they're going to start on that main lobby take. However, like you stated earlier, I believe, they have lost their Hibana, which means the drop-down will not be opened up. And they're going to have to do it bare bone just by pushing down the main staircase. It's going to be dangerous.
So a huge first pick for Vitality answered back, and now you're going to have to funnel. Funneling empowers a smoke. It empowers any operator who has a C4, because not only can you stop the push dead in its tracks, but also potentially bring a couple body with you down. Now look on the stairs, a conga line of Penta players as they are just waiting. There's all 4, every single member lined up, and you're going to see the Candelas go out, and I'm assuming it's going to be a smoke flash strat. Revan's going to exchange 1 smoke. Rise takes out Goga as they enter. That's 3-3, but Revan down inside of that cubby hole. Voy on the flank, drops out of attic. He's going to push through meeting. One hatch is open. He'll drop inside a pill, and the Miro will see him, but Rise had his back to the diffuser. It'll go off quite well as Revan bleeding out inside of closet, hitting the 1/4 mark. Fabian sees the Jaeger go by, and oh no, they go for the revive. Fabian gets a double as Rise is able to finish off Fabian, but now it is 2v1 in favor of Penta. Jonas and Shate just watching. Jonas sees the head of the Mira, cannot capitalize. Rise able to get back to safety. Shate just needs to wait as Jonas sits on the stairs. Rise peeks and doesn't last too long. The Finn from Penta just sits, the 2 Finns rather, just sat and waited, and now Penta up 2-0.
Yeah, something that's not talked about very much is now Penta actually has 2 ex-Ents players. Jonas played for Ents a good long time ago, back in the earlier seasons, and now he's got his brother of Shate, well, not literal brother, but brother-in-arms, so to speak, of Shate on his team with him. So I imagine that's some good camaraderie there. Now, they are up 2 rounds here, very decisively, I would say, on Oregon. And it's going to be now a forced laundry defense here, as their only other options will be kitchen or tower, which is, on Oregon, not 2 bomb sites you want to be defending, that's for sure. Question is, how are they going to be defending this? Because we are having a Ying coming out from enemy on Vitality, no Glaz, no Capitao, which I think is actually a little bit more important to note, and no Blitz from Vitality. They are going for a little bit more of a conventional old school setup. Penta will be castle barricading off the Meeting Hall. That's very interesting. It looks like they're going to focus on using Meeting Hall just for that rotation into kitchen, which I understand. It makes sense, but that's going to put more pressure on that west side roam should you choose to employ it as a defensive team.
I'm going to imagine that the reason why you're bringing a Thermite is they're going to do a split push. Either they're going to use that Thermite to pressure inside of Meeting itself, or you're going to situate Thermite down by construction and have him try to push in through blue.
It looks like they have spawned over by construction. Question is, are they going to use it? Are they going to actually push that? Because generally, I think for most people, attacking construction is a less effective strategy than just going through the main lobby. However, since it's such a predictable thing in this meta, maybe this is the right call.
We actually don't know where the Thermite is right now. He didn't look like he was joining them in construction, so he's now over by construction, just by rear tower or backstage rather.
It's just a prep stage for attacking construction. You got to take tower first so you can deal with those roamers. Speaking of which, Pengu is going to take out Void, and that is the buck eliminated, which means no more soft destruction for Vitality. At least no more easy soft destruction, unless you really count Ash.
Pengu sitting under the stairs, a site that is commonly referred to as Harry Potter because of where his bedroom was located.
Under the stairs.
Under the stairs. So Pengu playing inside of Harry Potter has been able to defang some of that push. Very, very aggressive. And you can see that Pengu was actually rotating over there before the round had even started.
Right.
And I'm not entirely certain if they thought that there was just going to be a push there. Fabian over top of that hatch. A double as Revan goes down to Jonas. And Rise, the Thermite that we mentioned before, up top, unable to do much with that castle strat. 3 kills for Fabian on the round, and now 3-0 at the moment for Penta. This is an outstanding start to our group stages, and they look absolutely unstoppable at the moment.
Fabian got a kill through a drone hole in meeting that round. You saw there was one of the players from Vitality attempting to deal with Fabian's position by peeking in through the drone hole. Very small angle, because there's a box next to that drone hole, I believe. And even so, Fabian's the one to come out on top. Very aggressive hold there from Penta as well. It almost looked like Pengu got caught off guard. It almost looked like he was trying to rotate maybe up to meeting hall, but he got caught on the staircase from the aggression, the early control from Vitality over towards tower, and he just was like, okay, I'll stay here and fight you. And that sort of mentality is, I think, indicative of confidence, certainly, if nothing else.
I saw the mirror of Pengu start to move before the round had even, before Penta had even ended.
Yep.
Anticipating that push, and was just all the way over.
It looked like he might have been trying to get the meeting hall, though. I mean, just like to maybe set up something in meeting hall.
I mean, it could have been.
Either way, he was very blatant in the fact that he didn't care about the Vitality push. He was like, okay, I can handle this. When he got there, whether it was intentional or unintentional, is beside the point. He sat there and he took the fight, and he came out on top. And Fabian, right there, was his, it was his nail to hammer against inside a meeting hall. It was a great 1-2 punch from Penta. Vitality, on the other hand, unable to take control over tower. That's disheartening.
I think more than anything, it was just the wrong site for them to push. Right now, they stacked a lot of their utility and they stacked a lot of their bodies of Penta in the rear part of Oregon rather than in the main lobby, and that because of that, if they just had maybe made 1 or 2 alterations and been able to put more pressure on the main lobby, that split push or that 2-pronged attack could have been the undoing of Penta.
Speaking of which, we do have a split push coming from Penta this round. Now, Void is on the tower staircase, which is going to be behind Shate. He's going to need to worry about that. It will have been called out since Void did destroy one of the drones, I believe, which is going to prompt Shate to say, all right, I don't want to deal with this crossfire. I'm just going to back off. And that's a very smart play there from Shate. Good call overall, which will give Penta still 5v5 mentality instead of putting them in an early disadvantage. I mean, you enter into a crossfire, you're 9 times out of 10 going to die, even if you take someone with you.
Maybe some diffuser juggling going on as Goga will drop it, likely one coming by to pick it up. You saw one member of Vitality inside of that back tower, and it was Pengu who was up top. Could have spotted him. Goga inches his way up top of White Stairs. There's an Ella up there, and oh no, cooks a frag. It'll go off, but panics. Manages to lose just a hair as a huge C4 from Rise as Shate and Jonas go down, and they're all dead. Fabian and Pengu fall too, as Panics gets 3 as Ella. And oh my word, what an answer from Vitality. It is 3-1 still in favor of Penta, but that is as swift as they come.
And that was an amazing triple kill there, I believe, from Panics with the Ella. Good position at the top of those White Stairs. More often than not, you don't see a West Side roam work on a defense hold, but here it certainly did. Good job from Vitality, and they are still alive in this match. We might see them start to struggle back and try to get more rounds after that. That's got to give you a lot of confidence.
That was a great read by Vitality.
Absolutely
fantastic read to know where the push was coming from. Penta had no answer whatsoever. They looked a little listless. Bad timing by Goga. Now,
I mean,
you have the Ela playing at the top of the stairs. Here's the frag grenades start to get cooked, and at that point, you're a 3-speed with one of the best guns, if not the best gun in the game. What are you going to do? You're going to sit there and eat the grenade? No, you're going to push. And that's exactly what happened. He was able to take the fight at the top of the stairs, holding the frag grenade in his hand. Goga could not fight back. And I mean, you don't get kills like that are that easy when you've just got your prey sitting there completely unarmed.
It's important to remember that that was Team Vitality's first round win after 7 consecutive round wins for the first 2 maps from PENTA, as well as their second ever round in the entire series. They only won 1 round on Border. So if they only win 1 here, I think a lot of people would have predicted a 10-2, if not a 10-0, and it's looking that way, even though that was definitely a very decisive round for Vitality. And it came down to an L and a C4. So you think about that in the context of Siege, for those of you not familiar, that is, while impressive, not the most decisive thing to say, oh, this was the team play that got that win. It was definitely the positioning, though. Great positioning for Panics, absolutely.
And keep in mind that they were, if I remember correctly, they were also attacking downstairs. That was
Yep.
a failed roam clear. That's
For
all
PENTA,
that was.
yeah.
PENTA lost in the roam clear, didn't even have a chance for the anchors to be able to do much on site. Nonetheless, you see how heavy the roam is right now for PENTA. They are defending back downstairs. They are defending upstairs, rather.
But they are holding it downstairs.
But they are holding downstairs.
Yeah. So Vitality, they're going to be doing the same exact roam clear they employed last time. This time, though, they don't have a buck. And as Panix moves his way towards Showers, this time Fabian is actually ready for the push. He's put down, I think, 3 legions in that doorway. And as Ravon and Panix look to collapse onto him, we are actually going to have Panix get a long angle kill into Goga. Fabian will get the refrag, though. Good snack from him. Will he get the second? He will. Fabian doing great work with this Legion on this round. And Rise now the last roam clear inside of Cafeteria as his teammates are pushing elsewhere. He's going to move into the hallway. Fabian, he knows he's inside of this bathroom. Flashes go down, but will he win the fight? He will. Only 75 HP, though, left to show. And Shate challenging onto the window will get a kill. An amazing headshot there on Devoy.
Oh, it is not often that you are able to see any defender be able to outpeak a glass, especially when that glass can hold that tight angle to the top of White Stairs around the bomb, but Shate makes it work and makes it look pretty easy too. Now, Fabian had lost a lot of his health in that engagement inside of the bathroom downstairs.
Yep.
It's going to leave just Rise left, and he was able to soften up the 3rd member that was able to finally take him down, which was Panix, as Goga had lost his life earlier on trying to fight for the trade. Shate, 2 very important kills as he eliminates both the Ash, or he takes out the Glaz, and then, waiting for the push upstairs, takes out, I believe that was the Hibana. And now we are on match point.
Series point as well.
Series point. Keep in mind, the way that this works, as Matt Andrews said earlier on in the broadcast, Vitality would go into the loser's bracket. If they lost again, that's it, they're out. If PENTA wins their next matchup, they are in. So that's basically what we are looking at right now. You need to win at least twice to go on.
Right, and you know, that's just how the group stage is going to be working out. PENTA, though, looking like they're going to get their first win very early on here. A nice debut match for them, for not only themselves, but also the Invitational as a whole. Vitality, on the other hand, they are looking like they're struggling. Now, we will be having matches after this. In fact, on this channel, we are going to have 4 total matches today. On the second channel of twitch.tv/Ubisoft, they will also have 4 total matches. So plenty of Rainbow Six to be had here today. This is not the only thing we have to show.
And the best part is that you can watch both at the same time.
Both at the same time.
You just shrink your browser.
There's plenty of ways to do that.
You can always go back and rewatch the VODs. I do believe, however, for those that are going to go back and rewatch the VODs, I do believe Matt is going to be updating the audience in regards to the scores from the other channel. So, if you are watching this channel, you will know the outcomes of the Ubisoft channel matches as well. So I know that there are some people who might not want spoilers, so maybe just mute Matt for 30 seconds while he goes through it, close your eyes, and then bring back to his beautiful voice afterwards. But nonetheless, you will be updated. So if you don't want to watch the other one, which we'd recommend, you should watch both of them.
I definitely watch both.
You will definitely know, so we will be keeping you updated.
Absolutely. So, PENTA now, setting themselves up here. They're going to be taking... Well, actually, they can go wherever at this point. And we're pretty early into this round, only 30 seconds. They're looking to clear out some roamers. Voy at the bottom of the White Stairs, playing a very aggressive angle.
And first kill is going to go to Voy. Jonas off the board And the Valkyrie, Voy has played very well. I've been impressed with his positioning. I've been impressed with his game sense. He had a rocky start, of course, when he backed into the Valkyrie on Fountain and Border, but has looked quite good. You can hear the first time we're going to see a Dokkaebi, and I wonder if this is some greater strat, as now Fabian jumps in and he gets taken down. Pengu answers back, as that's a literal trade as Rise goes down. Now Goga jumps in, gets some health taken off by those bandit charges, but Revan is there to eliminate him as Pengu trades with Voy. Diffuser going down, it's just up to Revan and enemy as well as Panics.
The mirror window, though, in favor of the attack this time, and Pengu from the bomb going to eliminate enemy. A great headshot there. This mirror window is putting the attack at a great position in the post plant. Ravon and Panic's going to be hard-pressed to take this back, as we see the Ela coming up from the white stairs. That's all going to fall to Pengu. Only half of the diffuser left. Vitality needs to push a little bit faster. Shate going to take out Ravon, and Pengu will finish off this match with an excellent headshot. They will be the first winners for the Invitational in the group stages.
So the very first team, unless something is going on with the other teams, right now the first team is going to be advancing is Pengu, or sorry, is Penta rather. Penta.
I've made that same mistake many times. It's the Ps, and as you can see, they are very happy to have pushed forward so decisively as well. That's got to instill a lot of confidence in future matches, with which they have many.
Right. And they await they will play the winner of Evil Geniuses and 1UP. I know a lot of people are licking their chops at a potential Penta 1UP